Welcome, basement dwellers. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Jerome Powell's dump, what to expect from Bitcoin in the near to immediate future, and all that and more on today's Blockchain Basement. Let's go.
Hopefully it wasn't corny.
You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What do you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
Is he not here?
Love that intro. Welcome back to Blockchain Basement. We're going to have a really good show for you guys today. Got some really good guests, just like you guys in the chat. I'll get to you in a second. But first, we've got the one, the only, Nick Diamandi, Crypto Sunglasses, the Nictator, sitting next to Drew Widert, Crypto Prepper himself, bringing the truth. We've got the hilarious Hannah Hughes, as they said in the chat earlier. Biscuit Jesus on the board with the beautiful smile. You can see it underneath his hand there.
Yeah.
He's covering that face of his because he doesn't want you to see that he got pink eye from something that he did last night.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Tabitha.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Tabitha.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. We got old poop-faced Jerome Powell, talking to people, making the markets dump a little bit. I mean, not very much, all things considered. It really wasn't all that too much. Oh, but first, before we get into it, in the attic, we've got Crypto Stevo, Fluffy the Sheep, David Valdez, Curtis Lavery, Decodiad, Crypto Keelywall, The Force Satoshis, Buckslayer 4x4, Michael Conrad, Mike Seal, Paper Hands, Moon Boy. I love that one. And then, of course, the basement OGs. We got Super Train, 2455, Crimson Caravan Company, Manowak, Corey Harden, Urkelson, Chemistry Bro, Orthorisen, Radio Face Crypto. Where you been, bro? I haven't seen you in a while.
He's been around.
Chef Crypto 918 rep. It's Bungalow Bill. Ariel for Life. Hit Network Gaming. Oh, Joel from Hit Network Gaming in the chat. If you guys
Get back to work.
If you guys like to game and you haven't checked out Hit Gaming yet, make sure to go over to their YouTube and subscribe. We're trying to get them to 1,000 subs, so that way we can raid them after this stream and add some fun and some jolly hilarity into your life. Because hey, you know, when the market's boring, you gotta play some video games, pass some time, you know?
Right.
Crypto Mike says, TJ, I have a question for you and the crew. With your experience with the cycles, do you think we will get a double top in 25 like we did in 21 with the 2 all-time highs? I will answer that, but I'm gonna let the crew go first, starting with Nick. Double top 2025 thoughts?
No.
You want to elaborate?
No.
Well, no. I mean, I think there's just going to be fewer big time manipulators because really SBF ruined this last bull run. Like that's really what happened. And there's going to be more DeFi leverage now. So when people there's just going to be a little bit more responsibility, and there's going to be a lot more FOMO. So I think with DeFi leverage happening, with DeFi trading happening, and with just the insane amount of FOMO that we're going to get, it's going to be popping. I don't think we're going to get a double top.
Hannah, what do you think? Just gut feeling, double top like we saw this time, or kind of a typical cycle?
I'm gonna say no for 2025.
No, I tend to. Drew, do you have a thought on that before I go?
I mean, I think a lot of people will think that there's a double top because we'll have that jackknife and then come back down. But I think we're going to get a really explosive actual peak to the next one. We're going to see that nation state race go on. We don't have fuzzy haired bandits involved with arbitraging and synthesizing the markets like Nick said. So yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty violent upswing and then a correction, just like we always see.
It's an interesting question. BJ, do you have any thoughts on this real quick?
Pretty similar on the narrative, but I think probably like what happened with the last cycle, most people will probably overestimate the top. And I kind of feel like that's what happened with this one is we didn't hit the over 100,000 that everybody thought. And then once the pumping started happening, you got major FOMO. But I think that was because the fluffy nerf herder, or whatever we're calling him, messed with everything. So.
Real quick side note: did anybody play that Star Wars memory game back in the day? It was like an actual. Dang it! What was the ship? The Han Solo ship, the Millennium Falcon that had the button,
YT-1300
that had the buttons on it, where it was like and one of them is you're a nerf herder, and then you'd have to remember where that button is. Am I the only one who played that game?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it was a great game, and every time I hear that expression, I think of it. And there's another one, who's scruffy looking? Like it was all Star Wars quotes from all that stuff.
I never would have admitted to saying that.
Yeah, it was a fun little game. So shout out to my buddy Adam. Him and it was his. We played it all the time. Also, Fluffy the Sheep. I still can't believe DZ said that on the stream a few days ago.
What did he say?
Many things.
We can't.
I'm not going to say it on this stream, even though it is the basement. But
okay, get controversial. In a good way?
No.
So if you watch Mandalorian season 1 watch where they do the helmet scroll, notice that Kylo Ren is gone now.
I saw that.
And Kathleen Kennedy just got fired. Are they retconning?
I've heard that they're going to retcon the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Bring back Thrawn. Anyway.
Okay, back to crypto. I don't think we're going to see a double top either. But both of you guys said something interesting about SBF being gone, so you're expecting less manipulation. It's interesting. I got to thinking about this literally on my drive-in today about, if we're going to, there's a lot of talk about potential super cycle. I think we're going to see the end of diminishing returns. I do think we're going to be over 200K Bitcoin by the end of, by 2025. I do think that will happen. But I was thinking, we know when futures are involved, just like we saw when Bitcoin futures came out, when Ethereum futures came out, we saw a lot more manipulation because obviously you have another tool for manipulating things. And it got me to thinking, yes, SBF is gone, but if Alameda was able to manipulate things to the downside as much as they did and keep us from getting that blow off top, why do we believe that institutions won't do a similar thing if they have this much control over all that stuff, if they have these tools available to them and they've got way more capital to work with, way less fear of regulators in certain regards?
I think they are going to do it, and they're going to do it with Ethereum and completely dismantling that and Coinbase. I know.
You just won't let this go.
In like 2 years, you're going to be like, BJ, not only are you so handsome, but you were so right.
Wow, that's a 0 for 2 for me on that one.
Oh
I'm just
man!
kidding.
I'll see you guys
I
later.
keep you here for your intelligence, not your beauty. I'm sorry. But hey, wait.
TJ, beauty is only a light switch away.
Yeah, that's a good quote. That's a good quote. I do not see that happening whatsoever. I think Ethereum is going to be one of the big winners. I don't see Coinbase imploding. I think they're going to be one of the big winners. It's an interesting theory, and like you said, if it happens, you'll be on record for saying it at least 1,000 times by then. So,
yeah.
we'll have the proof in the tape. But what do you guys think about that? Another, more institutional manipulation to keep us from, that's my theory for why diminishing returns could maybe continue. Just like we saw the manipulation from Alameda, do we see manipulation from big institutional players, the BlackRocks, the Goldman Sachs, some of those kind of people who are now much more integrated into the crypto and blockchain industry as we move forward? We know big banks are going to be involved in this stuff, probably a lot more in 24 than we've seen in the past. And then obviously into 2025, they know how to hedge. They know how to manipulate, short and long at the same time and really move those prices due to, in ways that are advantageous for them for closes on futures.
It's kind of like how you described how they're now doing that with Ethereum.
No,
I don't think so, but
stop, BJ.
I mean, what do you think about that theory, Drew?
I think as long as these oligarchs are left to continue existing and operating the same way that they have been, and there's no public example made of them, and there's no actual stop to it made by the public, that they're going to continue doing what they do, arbitraging the markets, and in my opinion, a lot of other political theater going on right now. So, I don't think that there's any way around it, basically, because these systems feel like they're well above not only the law but public sentiment. It really doesn't matter what the plebes think of them as long as they have their hands on the steering wheel. So, it's an unfortunate thing, but that's why I'm constantly talking about this to people, is because they need to be reminded that, an elephant is scary to an ant, but it's the elephant that is scared of an ant colony when it comes to it. So
I like that. And Crypto Siva says, BJ is right. Chemistry Bro says, leave ETH alone, BJ. So we got a split audience between the attic and the basement.
Well, tell that to the banks that are going to manipulate it and prove to you how bad sharding is.
Well, the banks are extremely invested in Ethereum.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah, I think they're going to manipulate it. If anything, they're more incentivized to manipulate it to the upside, in my opinion.
Or they crash it and then show you how bad CDBCs on chain are and then make their own.
I don't see that happening.
Look, I'm trying to make a ridiculously terrible book here. Okay?
I know. Yeah. Right, and you also see you see Ethereum merging with Cardano too, which is another theory I do not see happening. But real quick, I want to come to like some of the stuff we've seen today. I mean, here's the Bitcoin chart for today. We can see the volatility here of like right before. I think let's see what this was.
That's Powell.
10-10 right here, probably as he was speaking. Immediate recovery there. And so we're going to get into that a little bit of what we've got going on. This is from Fabian D, or Fabian HD is the @ or underscore Fabian HD. Somebody I pull a lot up on this channel. So after 5 days of sideways action, this is probably the week that we get some volatility back in the crypto markets. We covered some of this yesterday. Tuesday, which is today, Powell was testifying before the Senate. We know they both speak tomorrow. We got other meetings, payrolls. We've got unemployment. We've got CPI coming out of China. The jobless claims, unemployment situation report, Bank of Japan meeting. So we're going to hopefully get some action today. But even with all of this volatility, it really came right back. We were here at 22.3, and then we're right back here at 22.293. So that's about as much of a reaction as you're going to get. Here, just real quick, we'll cover some of these headlines. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says many unusual factors are affecting the inflation and don't know how this is going to play out. What? I thought that was an interesting...
so unusual after we printed literally trillions of dollars.
It's weird.
So weird.
Don't they forecast
Who
this
could have
stuff?
foreseen this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Yeah, why is this happening? I mean, Wendy had a pretty solid take on that. She said, basically responding to that exact tweet, the only thing impacting inflation is the geriatrics printing money and spending it everywhere but in the United States on its people. If you disagree, then tell me why Los Angeles County has a public school rated 3 out of 10. Obviously, she's in LA, so she's looking at a lot of that kind of stuff. But it is true. They're printing money like crazy and sending it overseas. And why they're doing that... Like, this isn't a political stream as much as Nick wants it to be, but we're not.
Bitcoin is political.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Economics or money is political.
Yes.
And Bitcoin is threatening money, and there's obviously a lot going on with regulation and speculation and all of that. Macroeconomic. I've never really paid attention to macroeconomics more than I have today in my life as it relates to Bitcoin and digital currencies as things progress, in my opinion. So Chemistry Bro said the dump started before Powell even started talking, went live. It was people betting short beforehand, the manipulation. Then when he started, it started to bounce. Yeah, I agree. Yep. It's people, but it's a yes, it was right before he spoke, but it's still because he was speaking that it happened is kind of my point. And, yes, it's all speculation. It kind of came out almost exactly as I would have expected, leaning more hawkish, leaning towards more raises in the future, saying it's not necessarily looking good. This is something bullish for us. I feel like Jerome Powell says the only way out of this is for Congress to raise the debt ceiling. Again, another shocker.
So is he M. Night Shyamalan?
Why?
Having extremely predictable plots.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, extremely predictable. When have they not raised the debt ceiling? I can't remember a time. I mean, they just keep going up and up and up. They print more money. They got to raise the debt ceiling. They got to go into more debt to print more money, and the cycle continues.
Yeah.
They've been. I don't know. They're in a bad spot. This is the other thing. I think another thing, and maybe it's in some of these articles. He said, you can come back to the full screen there because I got to click around a bit.
Gengar.
Gengar.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I was about to snatch him and he went away. I think they raise it every time. Yeah, it's predictable. Then there should be more millionaire traders. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at that volatility, this is not easy to predict, in my opinion. This up and down, dang it.
Like, how much volume does that? Like,
not much.
Millions.
It takes. I think for Bitcoin, it takes. I think Bank of America did a study on this. Don't ask me why. On exactly how many millions it takes to move the Bitcoin price. I think it was. Gosh, I can't remember. It was surprisingly low, like 20, 30 million, I think. But I mean, it depends on, again, a lot of the leverage and a lot of the short positions. There's different points in time that it's easier you move it down a little bit, which clears out a bunch of longs or shorts, and then, you get more volatility. But that was something about, I'm going to cover this story and then we're going to come to a, now you're gonna No, I just deleted my story. You're gonna have to give me a second to pull it back up. No.
Story. That's okay. I'll talk about politics and mining.
No. Don't let. All right, look, I got it back. Amazing, how fast that was. All right, so Bitcoin may need to dip to 19.3K to cool Bitcoin profit taking. New data shows. This is interesting because we know we've talked a lot. We talked last week about potentially what it would take to go down to 18. If we thought we'd see 18 before 26, it was about a split audience here in the basement. Some people, I think
17-1 before 26.
17.1 before 26. Very, very specific by BJ. This article says 19.3, which would satisfy the CME gap just below 20K. But Bitcoin short-term holders have been getting active, and their profitability may be underscoring the current support and resistance level. Look at that. It saved the highlights. In the latest edition of its weekly newsletter, the week on-chain analytics firm Gladstein revealed the short-term holders might be dictating Bitcoin price resistance. Profit-taking reinforces these levels. Let's see. As Bitcoin climbed to 25,000, those holding the coins for 155 days or less. It's such a specific number there. That's, I guess, how they define short-term holders. By computing these two metrics, MVRV, which we've covered a lot on this show, can be used to get a sense of when the price is above or below fair value and to assess the market profitability. Glassnode explains. The MVRV passed 1.2 on the way to a multi-month high, coinciding with 23,800 appearing as the area of BTC price resistance. They wrote, as the possibility of short-term holders taking profit tends to grow during periods where the average short-term holder is 20% plus in the money, returning that short-term holder MVRV above 1.2. The recent rejection at the 23.8 level resonates with this structure as the short-term holder hit the value of 1.2 before stalling. It continued this week. So should the market return to 19.3, it would bring the short-term holder MVRV back to the value of 1 and indicate the spot prices have returned to the original cost basis of this cohort of new buyers. So here's the chart there that they're looking at. Here's 1 point. Here, let's see if I can make it. Oh, no, I'll leave it where it is. I'll leave it. Oh, there you go. All right.
We have the technology.
We do. All right. So here's 1.2. Obviously, this is where they're talking about, if you're up here, which is like a level of profit. Obviously, 1.4, you see a much more dramatic profit taking. This is interesting throughout the different points in the cycle. Black line, obviously the Bitcoin price. So you see, with the big run up, you get the quick profit taking of short-term holders, which again, this obviously is people that know how to trade.
And the red one is short time high greater than 1. Yeah.
This line here?
The red one is greater than 1. And then green is less than 1.
Yes, correct. I mean, and you got that baseline here where you can see this is basically 1, 1.2, 1.4. And it gets more dramatic, obviously, the higher up you go. So this is it's a different way to look at the MVRV. And it's, like I said, it's based on short-term holders versus long-term holders or all holders. I love looking at this stuff from Gladstein. It does give another metric and way of measuring this stuff. So tend to agree that we are due for a little bit of a dip, but it seems to have very, very strong support. I think it's going to take more of another rate hike to push us down to those levels, which I think is in the cards here. I don't know.
Do you think it's going to be 50 base points?
I do, and we're going to cover that in just a minute. As the Cointelegraph reported, Gladstone is not alone in suggesting that 20,000 may not hold support for the BTC USD pair. A new local low could form beneath that line in the sand. On the downside, Bitcoin's combined realized price is 19.8, and again, feeding into the idea that the zone could ultimately form support. So again, just below 20K, I tend to believe is going to be very, very strong support. I don't think it will stay below 20K long. It could, if the macro tends to go a little bit more negative. Oh, somebody said, why did GBTC skyrocket? That's interesting. I wonder if there's some positive news on the Grayscale or on the Digital Currency Group bankruptcy stuff. From this lens, the market currently resides in a transitional phase bounded above by the realized price of older supply, and also the average whale has been active since 2018 cycle bottom. I mean, look at this range. I mean, since that recent dump, it's just been doing absolutely nothing for the last week or so. Bitcoin traded at 22.4 at the time of the writing on March 7th, and it's still, I shouldn't have closed CoinMarketCap. It's still at 22.2, 22.3. So we've gone down $100 since they wrote this thing. Love it. So it's extremely tightly range. It's in an extremely tight range, giving a lot of time for accumulation. This is why I think it's a decent time to accumulate. And I do want to say this: even if the Bitcoin price, we're at 22.3, 22.4. Even if the price does pull back just a touch, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't get too hyper focused on these small moves in this range. Anything close to 20,000 is a good time to accumulate, in my opinion. Sure, we might hit 18. Sure, we might hit 19.8. Sure, we might, move up to 23. For me, dollar cost averaging in during this part of the cycle, you will not regret it in 2025 when it's profit taking time. So,
and that's financial advice
from Nick, not from me.
Nick.
No. It says it in the disclaimer. All of our opinions here are for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing. We are not financial advisors. We are not licensed. Blah 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 blah. But we did change our life through digital assets. So if, maybe we have some valuable experience.
And magic cards.
Not all of us.
Well, not all. You can be excellent.
That's true. All right. Let's see. Profitability flips 70% for okay. So you guys are talking about that. I will do that next, and then we'll come back to that. So here we go. Here's the current probability versus previous day probability. A lot of this due to what you're gonna have to pull me down, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I gotta pull this in.
Mm-hmm. Squeeze it in there.
Oh gosh, hold on. Pull my screen down for a second.
Okay.
I got Slack.
Sorry, guys. I'll talk about politics and mining.
No, it was just a second.
Damn it. They want to know.
All right, you can pull it back up. I just need to close.
He's like a high school boy trying to get in there wherever he can.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So here we go. This is from Tom Crown. If you guys don't subscribe to the one and only Litecoin Lumineer lover, Tom Crown, then of course you need to go. There he is. Go check out his channel. He loves him some Litecoin. He's the only one I know that loves Litecoin as much as he does. There you go. I said it 3 times to make it
also one of the only people in crypto still living in his parents' basement.
Yes.
Shout out to his parents.
It is a pretty nice basement, though. I will give him that. It looks like he's living in a life of luxury. So here we go. Before Powell spoke yesterday, there was a 71 to 28% chance of the target rate being 4.75 to 5. Now we're clearly leaning 50-50 on 5 to 5.25. I do think we'll see a 50-point raise next, maybe a couple. And I do think that will keep the markets in this lower end of the range for a little bit longer. What do you think, Nick? You're our macro politics guy. Here you go. Talk about politics.
Well, now you got to talk about basis points. That's not political. That's just jockeying for
it's
position.
Pretty based.
Yeah, I mean,
sad.
So look, in November or something like that, the banks gave their kind of like prospectus, their preview for where they think 2023 is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And they all said that we're going to have a recession after basically the middle of the year. So I don't think there was like, they knew what was coming. They knew all the employment GDP numbers in January were going to be hot. Same for December. February, they're going to start to cool off a little bit, and people are going to freak out because they know what the situation is, whereas Powell is driving from the rearview mirror, right? So, like, all the metrics that Powell looks at are 3-6 months old. Like, it's very much he's driving the ship by lagging indicators, whereas the banks are looking ahead to where they can start allocating capital to get a jump on retail.
Yep.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, this is not surprising the banks. I think we're just going to continue to be in consolidation for a long, long time. The real estate market doesn't know what the heck is going on right now.
I've actually got a story
It
on
is
that.
completely foobar. No one knows what's happening. If you go on TikTok and you look up real estate, you'll get one guy saying that basically everyone's going to be living in like a flaming single wide trailer, and another guy saying, hey,
Everything's fine. Yeah.
everything's fine. It's going to be great. The good times are just around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So by that fact alone, it should when something like the real estate market looks so bipolar, that should be your clue that we are not in a good spot. No one really knows what is going on with the economy. We're all just reading vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of bipolar and leading indicators, have you seen
Here's
a lot
BJ.
of the stuff? Well, no, that people are saying it's like a pseudo Mason-Dixon line. It's not really, but from like a real estate point of view, where you can look at West Coast prices that are down, over 8% over the month, where the East Coast hasn't. And a lot of people are using that as leading indicator. So we'll see how much true that is. But from that perspective, it's almost like you have a real estate fiscal dichotomy right there between East and West Coast.
It's some of that's playing out. It's more like the South. The South is offsetting the losses that are happening up north on the East Coast because there's a lot of people leaving New York City and Pennsylvania, New Jersey.
Very good point.
Exactly.
The real estate market here in Georgia is like on fire still, whereas the real estate market in Phoenix, Arizona, not so hot.
Yes.
Actually, Phoenix is one of the ones that's dropping the most.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is consistent with what happened in the 2007. It's one of the ones that inflates. Generally speaking, where you see the most inflation is where you see the most return to reality, dramatically. So California, Phoenix, Vegas, all of those things had extreme pumps and extreme pullbacks.
That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, you show it on, it's like the same thing looking at charts when it comes to real estate. Where did it go?
I do want to address Urkelson's statement. It says real estate is so crazy because supply is still low supply but low demand because of interest rates, does weird things. That is part of the formula. There is a 3 million house deficit in the United States for us to just achieve parity with what people need.
Plus qualified people to build new ones. Yeah.
So the only thing the builders are building now are high-end houses. They're not building starter homes, and a bunch of millennials and soon to be Gen Z are going to need starter homes, and those don't exist anymore.
Pluto Alliance says actually Phoenix is pretty hot weather-wise. Yeah,
that's true.
That's pretty.
You're not wrong.
And actually, I actually was prepared for this. I didn't know you guys were going to bring this up, but I do have a tweet here from our favorite Genevieve Roche. She's great,
fantastic.
and this explains it right here. And this was something very interesting that I saw last night because Urkelson is 100% correct. Everything is supply and demand driven. The demand is way down, but also the supply is way down. And this is pretty interesting. Good morning, everyone. Over half of the U.S. mortgages, over 50% of the U.S. mortgages were originated in 2020 or later, which includes refinancing. Obviously, a lot of people refinance during that time. Think anyone with a 3% mortgage locked in is going to sell anytime soon?
Right.
No, not a chance. So this is the graph that shows it right here. You've got 2020, 2021, and 2022, way above average when it comes to origination. And a lot of these people were probably refining into this range. So there you go. A huge chunk of all of these loans happened in the last couple of years at extremely desirable interest rates. So the only people that are moving out of those homes are ones that absolutely have to, which is generally like a job transfer or something like that, a divorce potentially. But generally speaking, if you had a 3% or anywhere close to that mortgage rate, you're not selling it right now. You're not listing your house. You're not going anywhere. You're just sitting back fat and happy, and you're looking at these prices and these interest rates going, oh my goodness, thank goodness I'm not trying to originate a new loan right now.
Yes.
And so that is exactly what's holding the supply down. Yeah, the supply on the market way down. So even though the demand's down, if the supply's down just as much, it's not going to have an immediate effect on the market, which is what's causing a lot of what everybody was just talking about right there. So
where does a negative equity fall into here? For example, a lot of people who did lock in that 3%, but bought a house that was overvalued by $100,000. So as house prices come down, they're now in negative equity.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere either. And they unless they're forced.
Can't the loan agent basically be like, you got to come up with this difference?
No, that's the beauty of a fixed rate mortgage. I mean, they've got 30-year amortization, and you can't. It's only time you have to come up with that is if you were selling it, and that's what a short sale basically is.
Yeah.
And so the reason the biggest difference between what happened in 06, 07 and what's happening right now is a huge percentage of those loans were what they call adjustable rate mortgages. And they all, when the interest rates were going up, everything adjusted up at the same time.
Yep.
So in that case, people would have been screwed.
People were no longer able to make their payments. And so they were forced to sell, and then they were forced to sell it short. And that's what caused kind of a race to the bottom. All the banks ended up having to take these properties back, and then the banks got into the real estate sales and speculation game instead of the loan origination game, and they were not prepared and were not set up.
BlackRock?
What's that?
Wasn't it
No.
BlackRock? Or
No, it was Bank of America was a big one.
It was Barry Silbert.
Oh, really?
And
That
definitely
second-
Wachovia.
Second Market. He made his money in Second Market. That's his company, and he sold a bunch of subprime mortgages. So he was a carpetbagger and made all of his DCG money off of the back of the working class and the middle class as they lost their homes. Also, the other kind of fun surprise that everyone's going to be getting this year is everyone's property taxes are being re-rated now. And so every county is sending out inspectors to look at people's houses, and they are everyone's houses who appreciated 150, 200, 300%. Now their property taxes are going up. Now here in Georgia, my house appreciated 137%. Okay. From when I bought it in 2019.
Yep.
Now my taxes are not going to go up 137% because thankfully in Georgia, we're a free state and we have pretty low property taxes, but people in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and, all those northeastern states are about to get shellacked. I've heard of people paying an extra $10,000 to $25,000 in property taxes.
Yeah, I know.
This year.
I was talking to Steven about it the other day. I think his payment jumps a couple $100 a month, and he was like, "How and why could this happen?" And the only thing that it's not adjusting your principal and interest of your payment; it's adjusting the amount they're escrowing for your property taxes.
Oh yeah.
So that does definitely happen. But again, that's not going to be nearly as dramatic. Like I said, like a lot of people are comparing this, like, oh, look at that real estate crash in 2000.
It won't.
I mean, you could debate if it was 2007. Really, you could say it started in end of 2006. Played out over 2008, 2009, 2010 before all that inventory circulated through the market. But it's not going to be nearly the same situation today as we were back then because of the way the things are structured.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing to point out. Now, that being said, there is a lot of economy, and commerce that's created from buying, selling, repairing, working, all the real estate industry does represent a lot of the spending that happens throughout the United States. So that could be affected. But generally speaking, I don't think we're going to see the dramatic crash that we've seen in the past. And even in real estate, the biggest crashes ever, like I think it's been 3 or 4 times in the last 100 years or so that we saw a crash more than 20%. So I don't, and it's all of them corrected within about 3 to 4 years. So again, I think you're safe in real estate, just like in Bitcoin. Generally speaking, it is a good inflation hedge. As inflation goes up, we'll see real estate continue to rise in value. And hopefully the interest rates come down and become more attainable. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
What is happening in the attic right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that all out.
Mike sent something about
Us not knowing what GBTCs were, and then something went off.
it was something on Wendy's show, but
Oh, that's fine.
different show, different thing.
Yeah. Don't
all right.
care.
So
the big crash is going to be personal income and personal debt. That's what's going to drive the economy down.
I agree. We got consumer debt,
Consumer debt,
basically
yep.
credit card debt. personal loans, all that.
Did you know, TJ, if you order groceries on DoorDash, you can set up a Klarna account to pay for them over time.
Dude.
No, I didn't know that.
People are
They're financing their groceries.
They are now financing their Chipotle burgers and their groceries.
Like, if you
that-
have to do that, you should not be using a service like Door. Like, go to the store and get it yourself if you can't afford to pay. Like, that's a whole other problem. We got a bunch of lazy.
And you
people in
wonder
this
why you're
country.
poor.
Rent to eat.
Yeah, rent to eat. Oh god, that's a scary thought.
That's
Hey, the
Rugged.
world.
you just
somewhere,
made Klaus Schwab.
I was just about to say that. somewhere in the world, Klaus Schwab is smiling a very maniacal, evil smile. Like, it's working, it's working.
And Kevin Costner's like, I got a coffee maker. I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's brutal. Not good. I do agree. And one good thing that came out of it is
bugs.
Jerome Powell said we don't need to see unemployment skyrocket in order for us to get the landing that we want.
But they'll make it. Do it.
Okay, so Chemistry Bro says on the GBTC news, judge expresses skepticism of SEC argument in grayscale BTC ETF hearing. Okay, yeah. I think they have a pretty strong case there. If they were able to win that case, push that through, that could actually be a good catalyst for a lot of different things. For you guys don't know, the Bitcoin ETF exchange, they've applied for Bitcoin spot ETF, an exchange traded fund where they're actually buying and selling Bitcoin, not paper contracts representing Bitcoin. So if that was to happen, that would inject a lot of volume and a lot of buying pressure directly onto Bitcoin, which would be good for Grayscale. It would be good for Bitcoin. It would be good for all of us. So hopefully that gets sorted out soon. I'm not holding my breath if we've learned anything about the SEC and some of these judges.
Well,
it takes a long time.
there's something going on with it because Gensler said that Bitcoin's the only commodity. And, now the CFTC is like, hey, come on and set up some futures on this commodity.
Wait, maybe
setup.
I did have.
So I think that there's a little bit of potential there for the GBTC spot ETF to actually happen, especially since Gensler hasn't gotten off the podium, demanding that everyone only look at Bitcoin as the commodity. And, the CFTC, they're in charge of overseeing commodity futures. So, that actually he's setting himself up.
That's the F
That's the F.
in CFTC.
Yeah, futures.
commodity trading futures.
Rug Gang says, who's up for the Control V challenge?
What the heck is that?
Everybody hit
That's where you
Control
paste
V and hit
whatever is
enter.
in your
Oh, don't do it.
look.
Oh my God.
Well, hey, who's up for the smash the like button challenge?
That's a better challenge.
Yeah, we haven't
It's
done
not
that
even
yet.
a challenge.
As everybody knows, we're trying to get to 420 likes today. If you guys are watching live, if you could stop what you're doing for 1 second, smash that like button. Maybe leave me a comment. I did reply to everybody's comments from the previous streams today. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to hear us talk about, what you think is interesting, maybe what you like, what you don't like. If you want to roast us, hey, we're here for
Roast
it.
us. Roast us.
Yeah, not BJ though. Of course, there's nothing bad to say about BJ, but
I am infallible.
Yes.
I exude excellence out my pores.
he is the perfect
That's
robot.
not sweat.
You should get that looked at.
Nope.
God.
Also, if you guys are in the basement on Twitch, if you don't mind hopping over and smashing that like
Is it
for us on
Gensler-
YouTube,
Gensler Pepe just arrived.
we're trying to get those numbers up. And I did mention this yesterday. If you haven't subscribed yet, we are under 10K right now, and there might be something special for the under 10K subscribers, the
Yeah.
OGs,
Pizza
to
party.
keep to remember. In remembrance. It might just be a Sarah
right.
McLaughlin poster. Who knows? But no, I'm just kidding.
Actually,
I'm such a bad influence on TJ.
You are. For
It's
a
a
lot
free
of
month to
reasons.
my OnlyFans and my premium grinder account.
Definitely not. Nobody wants that.
We have a question from
Incorrect.
Chemistry Bro. He said, if GBTC becomes a spot ETF, could that cause multiple spot ETFs to be set up and be a massive buy pressure for Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think so 100%. It'll establish, once one gets, because there's been people applying for this. I think the first one, I don't know if it was the first one, but the first one I was aware of was the Winklevi applied for almost 12 years ago. And people have been stonewalled on this. So if we have precedent and judge does approve it, yes, we will see a lot of spot Bitcoin ETFs, I think, get set up fairly quickly. And yeah, massive buy pressure on Bitcoin. It could, who knows? I was saying I think that could be part of what sparks the next bull run and pushes us up into some of those crazy numbers. The timing obviously is very important on that. I think if it happens next year after the halving, that could really send us. If it happens this year, maybe we do a couple more rate hikes, raise the debt ceiling, have to print a little bit more money. That could be what kicks off this midsummer bull run. I don't know. I don't know what the catalyst will be for either one of those things. But yes, if that happens, it will be major. But I'm not putting too much weight and thought into it because I've been hearing about, and Ben will always tell us, we'll attest to this. We've been hearing about a Bitcoin ETF getting approved forever since I got into crypto. Since
my first 6 months of working here, it was like every other day. We're like,
Yeah.
Well,
I was asking about it.
2017 in 2018, when the price was just starting to crash, everybody's like, "Don't worry, they're going to approve a Bitcoin ETF any day. That's what's going to send us back up to new all-time highs." And then we watched it go all the way down from 20,000 to 3,800 over the course of 2018, and then all of 2019. It's coming. No, not coming. Don't say anything, BJ.
I was right there. I was right there. You sound like a married man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
gosh.
Nick, +1 in the chat if y'all would buy a Nick Tater feet pick.
Yes.
NFT.
No.
That's a great NFT project, bro.
Wait, does that stand for Nick's freaking feet? Or never mind, I screwed up. Back to the drawing board.
A Nick Tater foot pick NFT. That's funny.
Nick's fungus
I'll do it on
toes.
Solana for the gags.
There'll be gags. That's a whole other NFT project.
Gags is a different.
All right, so here's another thing from Fabian.
-1.
Never trust the initial. I like the -1. That's good. Never trust the initial reaction, but also never trust the second reaction. Either price could whipsaw quite a bit before choosing a direction. So this is again initial reaction, reaction, and this is the plight of the day trader right there. And this is why a lot of experienced day traders will say they don't get involved on days like today when somebody like Powell is speaking. It removes any edge from what they have when trading the market. But I did have this question, I think from Frankie Candles, that I thought was a pretty interesting poll question I wanted to ask you guys. And if you guys don't follow Frankie Candles, here, let me hide the results. You absolutely should. He gives great advice on how to day trade, how to see trends, how to look for basic TA. He teaches all of this stuff very well. Risk management
picks you do want to buy.
Psychological, those calf picks. Somebody did do some TA on his calves the other day. Did that volume profile, and it's pretty interesting. But I wanted to ask you guys. I know we're not all sophisticated day traders like Frankie, but quick poll for the crypto community. All of these are super important, but I wanted to see what you all think is the most important. And I want to ask you guys in the chat too. I know we got a lot of traders in the chat. What is the most important factor in becoming a successful trader? Proper risk management, understanding basic TA, or psychology/discipline? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Drew, what is your thoughts on that?
I totally think psychology and discipline is the number one thing I would choose.
Can you do a poll real quick, BJ?
I was going to say Hannah too.
Where at?
On the attic.
On attic?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, psychology matters a lot because, scared money don't make money, basically. And I think well, I love what he said about it. It's true. And if you're moving into a downward situation and you wait for that moment where everyone's scared and run away and they're not taking that trade or putting that long in because that massive red candle just happened and they're sitting there waiting for it, then they'll start to just wait for full confirmation when they're all the way back to where it started to begin with. And then discipline, I think, plays more into long-term holding mindset of creating a specific goal and what you want out of your assets and your money and understanding how long it'll take to get there. And kind of just staying with that plan and being disciplined in it. So, yeah.
I wasn't laughing at you.
No,
that's a really funny
serious
comment from Radio Face Crypto. But yeah, you're 100% correct.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's done me right.
Hundo P.
All right, so you got the options, BJ, or you need me to read it off again?
Understanding TA, discipline, psychology, and what else?
Proper risk management. I will. Chemistry Bro says, "Hey, read my comment from Frankie Candle's post." So I did go pull it up. Likes. Oops, I didn't want to click on it though. Likes in the chat for Chemistry Bro. He said, I think it's risk management. Even if you don't have any TA knowledge or trade emotionally, if you at least stick to strict risk/reward rules, you can be profitable even after losing 67% of your trades. Good risk management first, then others, just increase percentage of wins. I do tend to agree with that. Oh gosh, PJ.
Nice.
Nobody vote for that fourth one. I'm a terrible speller as well. But so let me know. Let me know in the chat what you think. Proper risk management, basic TA, or understanding TA, or psychology/discipline. What do you think is most important when it comes to trading crypto? Obviously, you want all of these things. And of course, all of you guys in the chat, you're all geniuses. You already have all of these things. So I want to hear what you guys think when it comes to those factors. You guys both already answered. Do you have any thoughts on that, Hannah? If you had
I
to
would
pick one?
say probably risk management, just because I know myself and I don't want to make any careless decisions.
Whispers.
Yeah, no, I agree. Risk management is one of the, like Chemistry Bro was saying, if you have risk management, it gives you time for all those other things to catch up as as you trade more, and you'll learn TA, you'll learn how to kind of control your emotions. I think anybody who's traded, you can say you want to have discipline and kind of psychological, emotional control, but a lot of that goes out the window when you first start trading. I think everybody who's traded at least some can think of a revenge trade where it's like, I get wicked out on the long. Like, all right, I'm going short right now. I'm going to make it all back. And then you get wicked out again, and liquidated again. So it happens to everybody. But if you have good risk management, hopefully you're not losing very much on your losing trades. And you're able to live to fight another day and learn. So we are seeing, this is a trend. I mean, you guys were talking about the GBTC stuff. With the judge. Now we've also got, this is from Haley Lennon talking about something with the Voyager case. The bankruptcy court is, and this is something we're seeing kind of across the board. Judges are kind of tired of the SEC's crap in a lot of different ways and really turning up the heat. Bankruptcy court is putting pressure on the SEC to clarify their stance. The judge said, we can't just put everything on pause just because we don't know for sure how the regulators will eventually make up their minds on points that they seem to have been debating for years.
Damn.
Which is pretty harsh language from a judge, like saying, look, we can't just stop this case because the SEC isn't doing their job, basically is what they're saying. And this is the complaint that a lot of people are having. Like, look, you're not giving us clarity on this. How are we supposed to operate? So, and I don't know if this is by design, and maybe it is, but it seems...
The stalemate that they create gets the exact effect that they want.
Which is, the judges making the decisions and setting precedent and being able to enforce after the fact rather than... providing clear framework for people to move forward, which again, it's a strange strategy to me, in my opinion. It's and I guess it's a stall tactic in a lot of different ways. It's the trying to slow innovation down so that they can catch up maybe. But it's definitely not what's best for the United States long-term interest in the blockchain industry, in my opinion. Like, we need clarity here so that way innovation can happen on our shores. It keeps us ahead of the curve. I mean, I believe we showed a graph on the show the other day showing blockchain industry development in the United States just sloping to the downside because things are getting pushed out of this country because they don't know for sure what they can and can't do. So they're going to go to somewhere that gives them more freedom to do so. So I'm liking the stance from the judges. It does generally seem to be leaning in the favor of the crypto projects and blockchain industry more than the SEC regulating everything. I did get an interesting question. Shout out to Gladstein Cruz, a friend of the channel, a friend of mine, somebody that I've known in crypto for a long time, runs a great meetup in Long Beach, California. Him and, I don't know, I hope maybe they're not still doing it. It might have died after the flu season, but him and, please do a poll on who has the best facial hair in the basement.
Don't do
tell
that.
TJ. No, not right now.
That's useless. It's obviously me.
Let me see you. I can't see your face.
How many?
I'm no different than I am in your dreams.
Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, look, Hannah's crushing it. So
Hell yeah.
that's mana for you guys. No, but Gaston messaged me the other day about the library case and saying, if secondary sales aren't considered securities, basically, won't this just squeeze out the public, and again, protect accredited investors more or less? And I was like, yeah, basically what that will do is the initial token offerings or initial token sales will only be available to, accredited investors and not the public, more or less. Like, you won't be able to sell the initial token offering to the public. Only the secondary sales will be available to the public, which is a lot like the way IPOs and a lot of that stuff works now, where the common man is squeezed out, and it allows the bankers, it allows the stockbrokers and a lot of the elites to continue to make the most money on the front end, and then lets you kind of participate in the scraps after the fact. So it is good in the sense that secondary sales are, not considered securities, and it does allow precedent for the projects that are already existing to continue operating and not have to worry about the fear. I'm talking about the library case precedent, but it also sets a bad precedent when it comes to the future, because it's not going to allow decentralized access to the public in a lot of these new and exciting protocols and technologies. So it's a double-edged sword there, but now looking back at that, it's like, that makes a lot of sense as to why, like, banks will let this get pushed through, hedge funds will let this get pushed through, because it still gives them their competitive advantage by squeezing out people like you, people like me, people like the everyday person. So do it now so you can get accredited investor status so you can continue to participate in that, which I believe it's just a net. You have to have a pretty decent net worth, but it's a lot more achievable today than it was 4 years ago, I would say. So never doing a shirtless episode. Sorry, nimble flip. I almost read that as nipple flip, but
more on brand.
Yeah, it would be more on brand. All right, so real quick, don't show my screen.
Ah!
I was just gonna say I don't want to show my screen because I don't want the. I'm gonna read some quotes here, and I want to get everybody's opinion, and I don't want the quoter to create a framing bias on your opinion on it, because obviously we all have biases, and I think it would. So I'm gonna say. So this, and you guys at home you guys might know these quotes as well. Is it first quote? It is better 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer. That's quote one. Quote two, I'm more concerned with bad guys who got out and released than I am with a few that were in fact innocent being imprisoned.
And that's the definition of a dichotomy.
Yeah, so two opposite stances on this thing. One person saying it's better for 100 men to run free than one innocent person be in jail. The other saying it's better, I'm more worried about a few getting away or hundreds getting out than I am having a few innocent people in prison. Where do you fall on that scale? Which is better, Nick?
Also, we're about to show our first dick pic on stream.
Oh,
Don't
really?
say that.
Sweet.
That could get us in trouble.
Oh, whoops. Dick Cheney pic.
I said don't show it.
I tried to fix my problem.
It didn't fix anything.
It didn't.
Well, see, I can't even comment on it because I saw this well ahead of time.
Okay, so you know the answer.
I already knew the
There
answer.
is no right answer. I just wanted to get everybody's opinion. It's
No, I think
kinda-
there is. I think there is a right answer.
It made me think about it, but all right. Well, then we'll go to Drew. What do you think?
I mean, I think that the first one's more where I lean. Like, I'd rather see, many guilty get off than rather, imprison someone that's innocent. I think that matters a lot more than, just, kind of governing overall and imprisoning a slew and ending up with a handful of innocent people. I don't think that's the option at all.
Hannah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the guilty people running free because we're already around people that are guilty of
in this room.
That's a good point.
I'm governed by
want the
criminals right now.
innocence.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. That's a good little thing. BJ, thoughts?
One of these is basically definition of tyranny, and the other is the definition of a society that can evolve and adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them's open to being progressive, the other's regressive.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And a lot of people in the chat saying I'm leaning towards don't imprison innocents. Putting innocent people in prison is freaking horrible. Ethics versus quant stats. I tend to agree. I mean, everybody seems to be, which is why capital punishment is also awful. In case you kill an innocent person, the judicial system is too flawed for capital punishment. Yeah, interesting. So this is shared by Alex Gladstein, the head of the Human Rights Foundation, or maybe chief of strategy or something like that. And these two quotes, one is Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers, saying it's better 100 guilty persons should escape than one innocent person should suffer. Dick Cheney, I'm more concerned with the bad guys who got out and released than I am with a few that are in fact innocent. And I tend to agree 100%. And the problem is our society today tends to lean towards the latter when I think it should lean toward, and there's, there is no perfection in either one of the, you're never going to get it 100% right, which is, I think, kind of to BJ's point, but one allows you to move towards that direction and evolve towards that direction. Yeah. The other one is extremely tyrannical. Yeah. Tyrannical.
Like a tyrannosaurus.
Like a tarantula.
Yeah. Or tarantula.
Yeah. And it's gonna get very dark very fast, in my opinion. I just thought it was an interesting thought experiment and figured it'd be fun to share with you guys.
Razzmatazz says, "What if it's 100 pedos running free? Guess what? That's the CIA, and we have that."
Well, no, I mean, I think Hannah said it best. That is happening. There's way more criminals out there running around free right now already today, and you're never gonna capture 100% of them.
Nope.
But to imprison innocent people in a hopes to get a higher percentage of the criminals in there, that's the true crime right there. If you're putting somebody that does not deserve to be in jail in the name of like, well, we're getting better odds.
Injustice is a crime too. And that is putting an innocent man in jail or woman in jail is an injustice.
All right. Yeah, I tend to agree. So I just wanted to ask you guys, it made me think, maybe it did make me pause for a second. I was like, well, no, definitely this one. So I just wanted to ask the basement because, that's who I come to for all my sage counsel and wisdom.
Compass.
Yeah, my moral compass
I'm
is
really
the basement
glad
for better
I
or worse.
disagreed with Dick Cheney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised that I agree with Alex Gladstein so much because I do not like the Human Rights Commission. I think they have the
Foundation.
worst taste.
Well, he's great. I met him. I didn't really know. I don't
Am
know
I
much.
thinking of the wrong thing?
Maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He's pretty
His
high
takes
up.
are amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he's a Bitcoiner. Obviously, I met him in the parking lot of the San Diego Chargers football stadium.
My God, have I done some stuff there too?
Tailgating out there. I don't know. Oh, what was the guy's name? So one of the Chargers, I think he was one of the linemen. Oh, Russell Okung. I don't know if you guys remember this. Was trying to he was really pushing. This might have been in 2019 for getting paid in Bitcoin. NFL players being able to get paid in Bitcoin. He was trying to take his salary in Bitcoin. So we were out there to kind of support him. It was me and a whole bunch of other maxis. So, but yeah, we had a good time. I think Mark Moss was there. We had a pretty good time.
Mark Moss,
I believe he was there.
He's going to be on ATB.
Yeah,
on
nice.
April.
All right, if you guys don't subscribe to ATB, you definitely should go do that. Also, we have 441 people watching live right now.
Yeah, that's pretty
if you
good.
have only 200 likes, if you haven't hit that like button, get your
know.
life right. We can definitely, if there's 440 people watching, we can definitely hit 420 likes. Because that who knows why we just like that number 420. It's
No
just a good round number.
It's a party.
Oh yeah, we are doing ice cream. I'm trying to remember that ice cream next
Like
Monday.
a truck is coming.
No, like an ice cream party just for us on the basement because we hit the like goal.
Yeah.
So because of you guys at home hitting that like button, all of the people in this room are going to get a little ice cream surprise. So that's the generosity you get to give back to our community. So, all right, moving on. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming. Speaking of Hit Network Gaming and Joel, like we did earlier, we've got the doc, the one and only Dr. Disrespect.
Hey.
Talking about extraction games. He's definitely starting to learn about crypto, NFTs, that sort of stuff. So imagine trying to extract an item you discovered worth $100,000 on chain. Think about the entertainment value as a viewer, let alone a player. A new PvP experience is upon us. And I think
Wow.
imagine different types of games. You're trying to, the winner gets to extract this prize. It's a real monetary prize. I know, I don't know if we're gonna have time to get into it today, but the Yuga Golden Key, I think, was sold for like 1,000 ETH.
Oh my gosh.
Which is like what, $1.5 million approximately. Big value there. Yeah. So imagine, let's see, put the YouTube stream up before you go live. Easier to hit the like. Oh yeah, good point. We can, but then people complain about then you got to trim the screen loading time. It's not as good for retention.
I do it every day though.
Yeah. Okay.
I do it.
All right. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see, Razmataz. But anyway, so what do you guys think about? I mean, I know Nick. Do you game at all?
I do every once in a while.
I know BJ, you game. So Hannah, do you play games?
Yeah, not as much as I used to.
Oh, that's right. You used
Not
to play
emotional
RuneScape,
games.
right?
I loved RuneScape.
Yeah.
I loved Warzone.
Yeah, so imagine some of those games. Imagine a Warzone, capture control kind of thing, and the winner, you're actually getting a real value prize that at the end of the game, you withdraw to your own personal wallet, can sell on the open market for a certain price.
Awesome.
How much more engaging and a much more adrenaline you would feel, how much more life-changing those events would be. Think about tournament esports gameplay, what could happen with PvP or NFT style games. And I'm glad to see somebody like Dr. Disrespect getting this excited about it, because obviously he has a big reach and a big following in that world. For those of you who don't know him, one of the more entertaining, he was a Twitch streamer. I don't know where he's streaming. I think he's a YouTube streamer now. Big contract issues over there with Twitch. I think he was a game developer for one of the original Call of Duties. So he loves shooter games, and that's anytime I think of Dr. Disrespect, I do think of Joel from Hit Network Gaming, because he's the one who introduced me to him.
He's amazing.
He loved him as a streamer. He's got the comb, obviously brushes his mustache and his beard. He's got the long hair, got the jacket, all the different stuff. If you haven't seen Joel's Dr. Disrespect impression, it's not bad. But do you think? Let me ask you this, BJ, because I know the Magic community hates this kind of stuff, but other games, do you think this will ever go mainstream or kind of get to a scale that is relevant in the esports world?
I absolutely think it will. I think it's absolutely great for viewers, because exactly as you're saying, say you're watching a tournament, there's two teams that you like. You've probably seen them compete a bunch of times, but again, if somewhere in that level is potentially, like you're saying, a special weapon or something else that has value down the road, I mean, that adds that Price is Right and lottery kind of effect of excitement of, you're like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Overall, with the NFTs and gaming, I think it's absolutely foolish that people don't want to do it, because we were making the joke that everything's proof of work. Everything you do is work.
Yep.
So if you're willing to dump money into microtransactions and everything else for things that you don't own, that you're immediately crapping away the value. It's like we talk about home ownership is super important and you want to get out of the renter class. Well, that's the same thing with gaming, is when you're just buying these things and don't own them, you're permanently in the renter class, versus like if this is your passion and you can actually invest into it, I think that's fantastic. Similar to like, that's what I've always loved about Magic. Like, yes, I love Magic. Yes, I love like the older formats, but those cards have done nothing but go up in price. Like my first Black Lotus was $250 in 1998.
Ooh,
It's a disgusting price now.
yeah.
There's plenty of other reserve lists that's cards that have done that. But if you look at some of the comments, people are like, "Oh, Dr. Disrespect, I thought you were better than that. I thought you were above that." And it's just so funny how terrified people are of new technology that they don't understand. And it's not even that difficult to understand. But it's like, do you want to dump money into something you don't own, or dump money into something you could own? You're going to do it regardless. So which of the two options do you want after you spend your money?
Yeah, great analysis there. Also, is the Black Lotus card worth $500,000?
It depends which version of it. So like a gem rated 10, which I think there's only one or two of those in existence, probably over
Good Lord.
over $500,000. A really crappy third printing unlimited, you're still looking over 10 grand.
Why? So where does yours fall?
So mine's beta and it's all crap, like in crap condition. I should probably just bring
you
it
just
in.
played it basically, or used it?
I mean, it was beat up. People didn't play with sleeves. They literally played on the sidewalk. These cards weren't worth really anything back then, especially alpha, because they had extra curved corners. So before sleeves, they were technically marked cards. But yeah, my Power 9's probably worth $80K, maybe.
That's crazy.
Dang, for
Good
a
for
piece
you.
of
That's
cardboard?
insane.
Yeah.
Games
I ain't
Chris
selling.
says, he tends to agree. He says, yeah, right now games are a one-way street for value. It all goes into the game ecosystem. NFTs allow that value to be extracted back out to the players. Two-way street. And actually, it was exactly what BJ was saying. His secondary, or Dr. Disrespect's next comment on the tweet below, says, the concept of digital collectibles in an online game is so exciting to me, especially an extraction type game. People saying scam and are just brain dead headline followers.
Love it.
Same people that spend a ton of money on skins for annual release game. Same skins everyone has too, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
what a lot of
Scroll
people.
down. I think this is the big fry where he says NFTs are a scam, and at some point, Dr. Disrespect on one of these, he's just like, idiot.
Yeah, you're dumb.
It's
probably
somewhere
in
in
there.
there.
Dude, I'm
but it's
getting-
great.
Anxiety now. I'm looking at the card.
now?
Well, I gave my daughter my first edition Blastoise,
Oh, dumb.
and
Dumb
Yeah.
move.
this thing is probably worth a couple grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I
Gonna
would
take
not
it
do
back.
that.
Just trade her. You know, she
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
know. Say, hey, I want to trade you for this new,
Buy
cooler,
some
better
hologram
one.
Give her like
card.
the new version of VMAX Blastoise or something.
Exactly.
My brother
Exactly.
used to do that with Pokemon cards. He would be like, I would get a rare one, and he would be like, "Oh, do you want this cute little dog for that
That's what
one?"
we
I was
all
like,
used to do.
"Yeah."
Exactly.
Yeah,
Wow,
he's so
savage
happy.
brother.
So I do want to add to the gaming conversation, and I have to do this. I'm contractually obligated. Actually, I'm not. But
Okay, here's something bad.
On
that we
the
don't wanna hear.
contrary.
no, this is an actual crypto project. It is mineable. I've talked about it before. It's called
that's
Neoxa.
Okay, is this not a meme miner thing that you're talking about?
No. The proof of memes, that's silly. This is Neoxa, a really good team. They are building a cryptocurrency and NFT platform. So people who can host games on the Neoxa enabled servers earn Neoxa. And so you can actually transfer that asset between different games. You can do it from Minecraft and Rust and Grand Theft Auto 5 and Roblox right now. And they're adding games and games and games. So that plays into exactly what Dr. Disrespect is talking about. If you can be on a Fortnite server and you are trying to extract a bag of 50,000 Neoxa and it's worth $500, that's freaking cool. But you can take that $500 worth of Neoxa and move it over to Roblox or move it over to Minecraft. Like, that's a very, very powerful thing. That's an NFT enabled blockchain. It's a really, really cool project.
And it is really interesting. We're in concept stage right now with a lot of this stuff. We're just getting, there's going to take time for the main, big games to hit mass adoption. LJGG said, I actually just sold my NFT for that game. He, meaning Dr. Disrespect, has going. Minted it for $50, sold it for $1,200.
Wow.
LOL. Nice. I'll come up. And I would have held on to it, but wasn't playing the alpha, so it wasn't worth it to me. So, but hey, that's a pretty good that's a good moneymaker there. You made $1,150. So And that shows some of the value on getting in early on some of this stuff, understanding where it's going. So I do think that's cool. Obviously, here's the tweet here where Mongrel basically says, I've agreed to sell the key for 1,000. This is regarding Yuga Labs and the Dookie Dash golden key that was acquired. I've agreed to sell the key for 1,000 ETH to Adam Witzman, super nice guy, and thrilled the sale went through with him. Special thank you to Yuga Labs for hosting an incredible competition. I look forward to competing in future events. Royalties will be paid in full. Big thank you to Trey Boomin for helping me with the whole process. The sale has been made on OS OpenSea for 1,000 ETH. So again, that's life-changing money right there. This is all very new and conceptual. And like, again, like the people that just look at the game state today and go like, oh, that's stupid, or oh, I would never play that, or oh, this is like they lack vision. And I think that's really the core of what is really going on with this. They're not thinking for themselves, kind of his point. They're just reading headlines and repeating what they're saying. They're not thinking like, wait a minute, what could this be? Will this evolve into over time? And I do, that is the number one use case I see for NFTs in the future is in-game items being sold, traded, and exchanged for real world value that the user can actually participate in for their own, for themselves. Somebody says need GTA Rockstar MetaMask to bust moves already. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing
that seems like that will be the first quote unquote metaverse.
I tend to agree. You know,
I know people would buy that stuff so fast.
So fun.
And that's the key of where we're going with the metaverse. Like a lot of people talk about the metaverse, think about the metaverse, but that's where it's like until the value is a two-way street, that's the true key to unlocking the metaverse, so to speak, no pun intended. Well, go ahead.
I remember just this game that I used to play that nobody would know. It was called Our World, and they had a marketplace where you could list items. So they would have like a catalog come out every month, and they would have new items that players could buy either with like in-game coins, or you could buy gems with real money to purchase these items. And then over the years, certain items become very rare and like hard to get, and people would sell them on the marketplace for a lot of money. And I was thinking about how I remember people used to buy items with real money outside of the game. Like they would DM each other and be like, I'm going to Venmo you $100 to get this item. So obviously people would pay for the NFTs, and it would be just so cool to see like a very rare item be an NFT and somebody get real world value out of it instead of. That's cool. The game doesn't exist anymore, by the way, but I did message the founder on LinkedIn, and I was like, y'all should get involved with NFTs. And
hey,
they're working on it.
She's still trying to sell her original world collections there. So, see, Solar Miner Spain wants to know, Hannah, did you play Stargirl?
I tried Stargirl, but it just wasn't it. Party hats and RuneScape, though, yeah, same concept.
Yeah. Well, and then, you know, so we mentioned GTA, Fortnite, another one, again, that has captured a lot of attention, a lot of value, a lot of in-game value that could, and the IP that they're starting to integrate in there really starts to make me see, okay, this could be a metaverse that that really carries on. If you guys haven't heard the theory, and I'm a pretty big believer in this, the metaverse isn't necessarily a place as much as it is a place in time when the general population cares more about their digital collectibles and their digital life than they do their real life, which is kind of a sad thing to think about in some ways. I know Drew's shaking his head already. He's a real world kind of guy, and there's plenty of people that are, which is why I think it's going to be a very generational thing. It's going to take a long time before we get there. Yeah. But the next generation cares a lot more about their online reputation than their IRL reputation. And if you think about it, your online reputation reaches much further, and they are getting closer and closer to melding together and being one thing. Any thoughts on Gods Unchained? I think it was a great, it was one of the more...
It was very fun.
Yeah, it was one of the more functional, playable blockchain games that I've ever experienced and seen. For sure. And it was more, I look at it as a proof of concept in a lot of different ways. It worked. It showed the value. You could play it. You could make real money, and that's more than can be said for many other blockchain games. When Basement YouTube Live,
right
we're
now
on YouTube. You're watching it live, MILF Hunter.
This feels like a Spaceballs. When now.
Let's see. He says, "I'm still one." How would you read that? Tilmet Locker. I'm still one of the richest players in the original Guild Wars. What a waste! Yeah, I mean, there's
Total Metal Rocker.
There's been a lot of the. What'd you say?
Total Metal Rocker.
Total Metal Rocker. Yes, I'm really bad at reading usernames. Yeah, there's been a lot of those. Second Life. I met the guy, one of the first guys that created almost an entire economy and sold what he'd built. I think it was in. Not Second Life, but there was another game very similar. He sold it for like $150,000 at the time. It was a really big deal for real world value. So anyway, Yeah, that's pretty much all we have time for today. Better than Dogequake. Let's see. Chemistry Bro, we'll read this last comment. Keeping eyes on NVIDIA's Omniverse project. Yeah, I have heard about this one as well. Waiting to see if / what crypto projects they partner with. The Omniverse project is meant to be a metaverse engine infrastructure where many metaverse can be built and connected. NVIDIA GPUs is what all these metaverses will be built in, or will be rendered onto. Anyway, yeah, I tend to agree with that. NVIDIA, one to keep an eye on. Obviously, Meta is trying to go into that space, but I don't know. I don't know how well they're going to do. They're wasting a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's all we have time for today. Of course, as always, we love you guys. We're going to talk about some DeFi tomorrow. Maybe some DeFi picks. Will DeFi emerge from crypto winter stronger? We've got some AI low cap, some AI gems, maybe some low cap gems to look at tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. As always, we love all of you guys. Editing team, I guess you'll get a shout out. Fluffy the Sheep, Paper Planes, Blazing, 2GZ, MILF Hunter, baseball and crypto, Crypto's MILF Hunter, Lost Profit. In the basement, we've got DJ 6Ule.
See you at the top.
I see that. Razmataz, Piz Buried, Ninja Glock 1, Crimson Caravan Company, Joey Daniel, Manawalk, Rug Gang, Razmataz, Solar Miner, Spain, Dude, What Does Mine Say, Covert, Chemistry Bro, 918 Rep. We love all of you guys. You're amazing. Go hang out with Joel on Hit Network Gaming. Hopefully we can rate him if he's live right now. Oh, he rated us. He must have just finished. So, hey, subscribe to Hit Network Gaming on YouTube if you have not yet, because we got some really fun stuff. We're planning a 24/7 stream in the future where a lot of the people here from Hit Network are going to be on there.
Yep.
Hey.
The Truth, Joey Daniel, Happy Techie, Crypto Tony, Cole Adery, Glattery. We're out of here.
We got it.
Bye.